I think it's part of their life interaction. The going up and setting it up and doing that stuff there was part of the. I mean, it was just, I think, part of their retirement plan or something.
Well, now speaking of retirement plan, what was the average age?
And they were very much, the average age of the people that were buying, or the average age of the people that were selling?
Well, both, I suppose, because it's relevant, isn't it?
The average age of the people that were selling, I'd say, was about 60 and above.
Okay.
The average age of the people that were buying was probably about maybe 30 and above.
That's not that's not what I'd call excessively old.
Because there was a lot of more younger people buying than there were older people buying.
Good sign.
And like I said, the thing that to me was pretty amazing was their knowledge of what they had.
So they were professionals.
They were way more knowledgeable about what they had than the coin shop.
Okay, that's what they do. They weren't amateurs, in other words.
No. Well, I mean, the coin shop guy wasn't an amateur, but these guys just made him look like an amateur. Any coin you'd ask about, he'd know exactly what he was looking at, and he'd be able to tell you right then and there what it was. And everything they said, because I wrote it down, when I went back, it all checked. I was pretty amazed.
Will you do it again?
Oh, hell yeah. Dude, I just regret not doing it before, or not being a coin collector or whatever before. All the places that I had gone to before. I wish I had done that. Yeah, I mean, it's. I guess now it's like part of the vacation. You work a day into, doing some research before you leave of where some good coin shops are and stuff like that, and then go there and check it out. Why not? Definitely. I mean, I got some things that I thought were for a great deal, a great price, and some things that you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else.
And the people you were talking to, was it mainly what you'd call the numismatic and coin shop stuff, or did you see what you might describe as the archaeological type or ancient coins? Was there many of those?
There was ancient coins. There was everything there except for BU and proof coins. Especially when it came to silver. They had some BU and proof gold, but they didn't have that much BU or proof silver coins. All the silver they had was old and circulated.
Okay. So it was mainstream stuff rather than Uber collectors stuff.
No, it was all circulated coins and stuff like that. Some commemoratives and stuff like that, but they didn't have the maple leafs, the silver eagles. They might have one or so, there for you if someone was to ask for it, but that's not what they were. That's not what they were selling you. I didn't see. I only saw one bar out of 7 or 8 people, or 7 or 8 shops. There was only one bar that I saw.
I think if you'd gone to Germany, you would have found more coin shops.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. It was a kilo silver bar, siren. And it was Heraeus, I think. It wasn't something special. Guy wanted 650 euros for it. It was a pretty brand new pressed bar. But I'll tell you something something else that was fascinating. But that's probably because he didn't have anything that was BU and stuff. But the coin shop guy, there was no place there that showed the price of gold or silver.
That is strange.
And the price wasn't shown. I mean, it didn't. It's not like he had on each one of his coins, he had prices pre-marked. They were put there with a sticker.
But no prices on the gold at all.
No, everything that he had there that was gold, he had a price on it already.
Oh, okay.
There was a sticker. I mean, it looked like you were buying, shirts or something, which was to me was kind of weird because usually you ask them, and usually they have a premium on top of gold of what they want for it and stuff. But this guy he never. There was no place. There wasn't a computer screen anywhere where I was that I could see where there was where he could see what the price of gold or silver
Well, that
was.
suggests that
Like I said, I went in there one day and I went in there the last day, which was like 12 days later, and everything was still the same price.
so the prices are sticky.
Yeah, the prices are stuck on.
Yeah, but they're sticky as well in the sense that they don't move up and down much.
Nope. They don't move
Yeah,
at
you
all.
see,
Not up or down. They're not moving.
this is the point. You see, the coin market in the U in now I'd say the UK is probably kind of a little bit in the middle ground here, but the coin market in Europe is kind of completely different from the US. In the US, it's active. In the Europe, it's more collectors put the things away, and if you really want to be buying them, you probably want to be frequenting auction houses when people die or dispose of collections. Whereas it's not quite that way. Sorry, Jack?
Just saying that's exactly what it's like.
So the prices there are more set in stone, and it's not fluctuating because of the mess. There's not a lot of activity, so to speak.
Well, there's another angle too. That's called VAT. Like every time you buy and sell something in a high sales tax country, 20% of it vanishes.
Okay, here's something that I thought was kind of also funny. When I paid the guy the coin shop with my credit card, he gave me a receipt. When I paid the guy in cash, he didn't give me a receipt. And when I asked him, "Can I have a receipt?" he literally took a piece of paper and just like wrote it as if it was like a notepad note. I was like, "What the hell? What is this?" I was like, "Dude, I want a receipt so that if customs and stuff when I'm leaving, I can show it to them." You know what I mean?
Well, he's more than likely trying to avoid that 20% cut.
Hell yeah, he's trying to make back that 20% cut.
Yeah, he could have just pulled out like most of the coin shops here, they don't they pull out a pad and they just write it out for you.
Well, that's what he told me come back. He told me to come back later, and I came back and he gave me another piece. He gave it to me on a written piece of paper and stamped it. And
did you have any issues at customs? I mean, not due to that, but in general.
That was really cool because I had a lot of silver circulated coins, and that kind of scared me because it was a huge bundle in my bag, and I saw the bag, when it goes through the, as you put it, because it was my carry-on bag, so I saw it going through the thing, and I had two bags, so I see the first one going in, and it comes straight out, and it's it goes to the left area. That one go in, and then for some reason it goes back, and then for some reason it comes back out. But this time it doesn't go to the left; it goes to the right. So I continue. I go down. I collect, my stuff, my wallet and my watch and stuff like that. Collect the other bag, and then I walk up to the guy, and he was a really young guy, like 24, 25. And I was like, man, I'm gonna, I knew he was gonna take my bag apart. So I was like, all right. So he's like, what do you have in the bag, sir? And I said, I've got coins. He said, oh, you're a coin collector? I said, yeah. He said, oh, okay, can I see? Can you open your bag? And I was like, yeah, no problem. So I opened my bag, and as I took them out, and I've got like 3 or 4 different bags. All he did was he opened one, looked at one coin, closed them all. Go ahead.
So there's no...
You know what I mean? Usually a lot of the times, 90% of the times, they'll receipt for them. How much is in there. This guy didn't ask. He just said, what are they? I was like, coins. He just looked at one, put them all back, and said, have a nice trip. I was like, all right, thanks.
Well, that's interesting because that goes directly against some of the stuff that's coming out on the blogosphere at the moment, which is hinting that it's getting difficult to move precious metals between countries.
I mean, no, not. I mean, I've never had problems in any of the countries that I've tried to move precious metals in.
So
The only thing, like I said,
another fine Skirter story bites the dust, huh?
it's just if there's anything that they ask you for is a receipt for the purchases that you've made, or how much are they worth? That's it. I've never had somebody say you cannot, or this is not allowed, or you need to put a report in. That's never happened. But some people do take them out like one by one and look at them, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I know that I've seen customs empty people's stuff on most occasions, but I mean, you just took a look at one and
Well, I mean, for me, he's not able to empty him. Just being kind enough to open the bag and show him what was in there, just to get the ball moving. I don't want to hassle.
yeah. Well, that's a good thing. You just kind of look. I mean, the X-ray already told them that there was something in there that they
Well, the
may
thing
want
is,
to.
he showed me the X-ray. All the X-ray shows him is a huge blob of metal
Yeah.
and a whole bunch of it.
Yeah, but he might have seen a few roundy bits at the edges. He might have already had an idea.
Well, look, when it's usually coins, look, I'll tell you where you have a problem, or you don't have a problem, but with me, where it's always been like, all right, they have to take them out. Look, whenever you bring in bars, you bring in a half kilo or a kilo bar of silver, and that will usually, they have to see that. Like, you have to literally take it out and show it to them, and then they literally re-extra your bag again, and then let you go. If it's bars, they usually mess with you.
Yeah. What you're suggesting is that at the moment, coins are considered a hobby, whereas bars
Coins are
are
considered. It's
considered.
also, well, at the end of the day, it's also like, I mean, I had a lot, and I was thinking, what am I going to say? And then I was like, well, what am I? It's currency. It's your currency. They're all guildas and euros, and it's money, fool. What do you want? It's change.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, it just depends on where what's it called? Where you're going to, and you just need to know the rules before you go somewhere. Like, when I'm going to the States, I know there's a $10,000 limit rule on it. When you go in the UK, there's a 10,000 pound limit rule. Dubai is 20,000. So just you know your limits.
Yeah, if you go over it, then you typically have a problem. What if you're over? They tell you you have to go through another process, or I'm not, or do they turn you around at the airport?
What was that, Seattle? Sorry again.
I said, if you're over the limit, what do they do? Turn you around, or do they
No.
just?
Okay. If you're over the limit going into the U.S., what you need to do is just declare it. No one will take anything away from you. You just need to declare it.
Okay.
So basically, when you come down and you come, if you've got more than $10,000 worth of stuff, then what you do is you just go up to the customs guy and say, "I've got $20,000 worth of gold here."
And just declare so that way they know that you're bringing in that much.
Correct.
They
Correct.
can make note of it. Okay.
Correct.
Well, that's not too bad at all. Hey, what's going on, Silver Speed?
Hey guys, you alright? So I'm just listening at the moment, so you crack on chatting.
I just noticed that you. I noticed that you when you started posting down there.
Yeah, sorry, I was just being silly.
Yeah. Well, you see the some of the angles. Let's see if we can call. Yeah, I noticed, for instance, that Martin Armstrong is starting to talk in terms of European gold being hard to move. And I like to verify these things for myself, because what
Well,
you're saying is,
you have certain countries where you cannot take precious metal, like Qatar. You're not allowed to take precious metals out. You can bring as much as you want in. You can't take any out. You have to go and get like a special paper from their government saying that you're allowed to take any gold out. So again, it just depends on the country, right?
Yeah, I guess if you bring something in, then if you're working there or whatever the case may be, like down in Doha, then you would definitely want to fill out the form saying, hey, I'm taking this back out with me. I mean, I don't
Exactly.
think they give you a hassle over it. It
No,
just may be a process.
you just have to go through the process. Exactly.
If you come in there with 10,000 and say I'm
But I
leaving
think
with 100, they might
the
ask some
issue is that
questions.
people here, a lot of the people here say, we don't want the government to know what I have or what I own. Well, if it's sitting in my bank account, the government already knows. It's the same thing, isn't it? If it was money in my savings account or my checkings account, the government knows.
I don't think the governments are really bothered about what are in personal accounts. To be honest, it's the business people. The business people that have over 10,000 ounces of silver or a couple, or even 1,000 ounces of gold. Those are the people they're after, and those are the people they're watching. So, yeah, that's just my thought on it.
Yeah, well, they're looking at a return on effort, and that's a fact. But usually it's cheaper and easier to apply that effort lower down the pyramid. And usually kind of higher up the pyramid, there's a little bit more resistance and
I think the
subtlety
thing,
involved in
I think,
avoiding them.
I think the thing is that the difference between us, us over here and you guys is we don't have taxes here. So whether I have it in gold or in cash, it makes no difference to my government. They're not neither one of them is being taxed. It's not like
Gotcha.
I'm hiding my wage taxes or I'm hiding my VAT tax by selling and then putting it. We don't have any tax here.
Yeah,
There's
you're
no
not speaking.
tax.
You're not speaking from the point of view of a U.S. or UK or European resident. You're none of
Correct.
those. Yeah, well, that's very
Yep.
important in the context of this.
Yeah, Jack, we're all having it's something with Google where just people getting disconnected.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of updates. They're also they're updating metadata, metadata updates in Google Plus as well. Instead of they're storing it on your computer. Those
Ah,
those those files are appearing. It was caught by my Nortons.
in the last week or two, I keep getting warning from my virus checker saying that my browser, when I'm on Gmail or when I'm on Hangouts, keeps saying that my browser is consuming too much memory, and figures like 400 to 8 or 900 megabytes kind of keep turning up, which, and it's only when I have tabs open for Gmail or Google Plus. So I keep having to close the browser, no, voluntarily, not being cut out automatically. I keep having to close the browser, close everything, and restart it to clear the cache,
Yeah,
just because it's becoming a data hog. And this is all over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
yeah, they're doing a lot of up. Well, you got to remember they're winding down that metadata program.
Are they? Do you think?
Yeah, well, they're winding it down from centralizing it. I would suspect that they're winding it down from centralizing it in those databases there to where now they're updating it and throwing it into the browsers. Instead of sending it there, they got to put it somewhere, and they haven't been authorized to keep it themselves. Therefore, if I think it's reasonable to believe that they would just patch note on their servers, create the file if you're using Google Chrome, and because it's a dot exe file, so it's an executable file, and it's there now. I mean, it's got your metadata and everything else there.
But fine, I'll tell you what was also interesting from the trip, which was you get all the circulated gold and silver coins of that country or that region for really close to spot price, which you'd be paying a lot more for if you went and bought it off of APMEX or something like that, like Belgium gold, German gold, which is usually pretty expensive, you know, a little bit higher premium on them. I was able to get them there for cheaper.
You see, they're less unusual when they're in their own country.
Yeah, and especially, like I said, it's that whole region, you know, it's the, you know, Netherlands, Germany, Swiss, French, and Belgium coins you can get there for a relatively good price.
Yeah, they're all old empires, so they all have lovely gold coins going way back.
Yep.
Well, gold and silver. Well, I mean, it's historic coins as opposed to, like, if you want numismatic, you can really get proper numismatic. It's not modern numismatic.
What do you mean by proper numismatic?
Historical.
Historical coins?
Like, we're talking kind of multiple hundreds of years if you want.
Oh, okay. You're talking about some of those ancient coins that sell for $30,000-$40,000.
Yeah, but like if you're talking about France now, for instance, you got nice Napoleonic coins. You know, it's all you can go back to the coins. There's large numbers of coins going back to the Middle Ages, and they're not like super wealth tax objects because they were empires back then, and they were able to create a large amount of coins back then. Essentially, all of those countries, at some point in time, they had 100 years of domination of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be, you know, before they passed the reins of empire or reserve? What we call the reserve currency, if you like to call it that. Call it empire. It's the same thing.
Okay. So they still got a lot of that old stuff there, and they've had them for quite some time.
Yeah, but as Jack confirmed and I mentioned earlier, this is not stuff you see being bought and sold on eBay every 5 minutes. This is more like what comes up. You know, you keep an eye on a few auction houses of what's coming up in the next month or two, and if you see something, you put a bid in on it. It's disappearing into collections and staying there. You know, it's not traded.
Yeah, it's kept in hidden. Oh. Well, with the modern coins that are now being slammed and everything else, I just wonder in the next 15, 20 years how this is going to play out. Because I think a lot of those coins may start to come onto the market. I don't know if they'll have the amount of buyers, the price depending, you know.
There'll probably be like 1% of coins that will still be out there that people want to collect. The 99 rest of it you can melt and sell for whatever spot price is for silver or gold is at that day.
Exactly. This phenomenon we're going through right now is just what happens when you get sharp drops in bullion prices. Once things either continue rising or just kind of level off, people lose interest. You know, they just cut their losses and move on to something else.
Yeah, they're enjoying the volatility at the moment.
The reason a lot of people are buying these modern semi-newbie coins, if you want to call them that, is because these people got burned on bullion, and they're addicted to buying precious metals.
Mm-hmm.
So they think they're being clever buying these lower mintage things and trying to flip them as a collectible item. But once people get tired of being bag holders, no, because it's probably a similar group of people who end up buying at the higher prices. Once they realize that they're never going to turn a profit on the stuff they're buying at highly inflated prices, this market is going to tank.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
to me, it's think about the markets that you're selling. I mean, think about the markets that you're going to be selling it to. To me, the Western markets are at their peaks today, whereas the Asian markets or some of the Latin American markets, it's still, they still haven't gotten into these coin collectings and stuff like that. They
This
haven't
isn't
been
coin
rich.
collecting
They're
though.
just
This is
being
like
poor.
penny stocks. This is penny stock pump and dump. Oh my god, it's a new coin with a shark on it. Let's all
No,
buy
but
one if it comes out and sell it 2 weeks later, twice what we paid.
yeah, forget penny. I'm talking about, like, wouldn't it be smart to be buying pandas?
The only thing that puts me off that, the only thing, I agree with everything you're saying about the let's say, the rise of Asia and the emergence of a class of people in Asia who will be interested in precious metal coins. But the thing that bothers me about it is the history Asia has of ignoring copyright and being willing to counterfeit. So the more counterfeits take place, verification and provenance becomes more important, and also like the middle ones default more towards the spot price, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but think about it. I mean, and that's why you get the graded ones. I mean, you got PCGS and NGC just opened up shop in China.
Really?
PCGS has 3 shops now in China.
Are they dealers?
Exactly. Like Silver Sun said, show me something that the Chinese aren't counterfeiting. Rolex watches, purses, Louis Vuittons, suits, everything. Car parts.
Yeah, they do a lot of they do a lot of counterfeiting, but the copyright and intellectual property law is very new over there.
But that's going to develop. Think about it. You've got 330 million Chinese that are growing. I just saw, I think it was either on Vice or Journeyman, where they were talking about how China now is going to start to import better high-end products and actually export more garbage, because internally they're starting to want products. They want the higher-end quality products.
Yeah, I mean there'll definitely be some
It will
demand
be the
there.
biggest economy or the biggest market.
Yeah, it definitely has a lot of potential.
Yes.
There are some there are still some things to get over. I mean, for them to really become a big a big consumer market along the way, there's got to be some people who are producing a lot higher end stuff, and there's a lot of countries that can do that. Um, it's going to be a it's I mean bringing silver and gold into China is not exactly an easy thing as well still right now. I mean it should change over time, but they have very strict limits on it, and they still have a generation of people who still have a bad taste in their mouth for silver as well, because they were bankrupted and their currency was shattered when they were on the silver standard. And some of those people are still alive. So there's still some time there for this to work its way through. I'd say it'd be 20 years, at least another 20 years or so myself. Maybe shorter, but possibly even longer.
Smoke time.
You gotta look at where these people's income is coming from as well, though. How many people working in China have their income supported by the government? Now, I don't mean directly working for the government. I know 27% work for the government, but most of the private industries receive huge bursaries from the government. The government is deficit spending its way into oblivion to keep many industries operating at low cost, so that the mainly American firms will use them to manufacture goods.
Well, that's because they've still got a strangle grip over the economy.
Well, it's because they
And
need to prop it up because it's artificial. They can't actually produce those goods and services at such a low price, they need the government to foot the rest of the bill.
Well,
So if the government goes into a debt crisis, which it's been on the verge of for about 8 or 9 years now,
I mean,
it's a house of cards waiting to collapse, really.
well, if they decide to get rid of their death grip on it, because I mean, every province and every little town and city has a member of the party who receives a lot of money, and he dispenses it around to the people and businesses and stuff like that. A lot of that goes on. Um,
Yep.
that's the problem. It's a very, very controlled market over there. If they let loose some of the grip and let people start moving the direction that they would like to move in, I think that there's a good chance that it'll rectify itself in time. But as long as you've got that death grip and a member of the party pretty much giving out okaying the loans for his friends and his buddies, and then some of it trickles out to the others, they're going to have problems. I think that's exactly where their problem is.
Well, I think they're going to have a Great Depression.
Yeah, it's possible.
When the government no longer supports all these industries, everything's just going to collapse. The yuan's going to soar, and these people aren't going to have the disposable income to invest. That's my opinion, based on what I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, but in the end, it should rectify itself if it's allowed to do its own correction. But that's that's a touch and go situation. How do you unwind that type of power vacuum? But overall, if as they're like Al was saying, as they're they've got a pretty big group of people over there, and there's a lot of demand for certain things, for coins or silver, gold. Gold is still more preferable over there by a long shot.
Yep.
Silver's picking up. Generally, from what I've
I'll
recently
tell you
been
what,
told.
Seattle, to be honest with you, platinum is picking up much more than silver is, especially in India.
I'm not familiar with India. I have no connections there.
Well, India, like in the past 15 to 20 years, only had about maybe 5 to 10 jewelers that would sell you platinum. And today you have over 300 and something, and they're talking about this huge explosion in platinum jewelry in India. But that's just because of, also right now the price is below gold, so it's more attractive.
Yeah.
But the Indian jewelers see platinum as more attractive because they can charge a higher premium on it, whereas gold and silver is controlled in a lot of countries.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but platinum's a lot more rare than gold itself, if I remember right. Once industries, the global economy starts to pick up, it'll go up in value where it would be, but it still just hasn't. That's because the global economy hasn't picked up, which probably won't start until another 4 years. There's still a lot of indicators and predictions along those lines. That'll be 2018, 2019 before it becomes obvious to everybody. So I think we still got a few more years there, and you'll see those platinum dealers fluctuate up until that starts, and then they'll slap capital controls on them as well, because they'll want that metal to go to the industries, not at the inflated prices.
Well, the thing about platinum is it's all from South Africa or Canada or Russia. There's only so many places it comes from.
Yeah.
Now, the South African mines, I don't know how active they are, but I can tell you they're getting very deep, and the cost of getting it out must be rising. A rise in the cost of energy.
Miners.
Huh?
The platinum miners have shot their own people because of rioting over the work conditions and low pay.
Yeah. That's the riots at the Amplatz mine.
Yeah, that's sure to cause some problems. Oh, it'll. I mean, South Africa's a part of the BRICS too, right?
Yeah.
So.
Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, and Korea.
Okay.
Well, that creates the possibility of more platinum in the future flowing towards Asia than towards the West. I wonder about that.
What's up, George? Well, the thing about, like I said, the thing about platinum, though, Jack, is any platinum jeweler can do gold, but no gold jeweler can do platinum. The heat, I think, I mean, I'm not sure, but that's what I've read, because I think it's the heat and the level of sophistication in making platinum jewelries at a much higher level.
So that's why the premiums are so high in coins and jewelry, I guess.
But like I said, it's less regulated. I mean, in where I live in Dubai, when you go to the gold market, then in every newspaper every day, what the stores can charge you for gold, how much they can charge you for 14, 18, 21, 22, and 24. They even set the premiums for them. You can't charge more than that. So there are countries that control how much you charge, except for when it comes to, and they do it on gold and silver. They don't do it on palladium or platinum.
Did anyone watch my iridium video at all? I guess not much is known about that, in a sense.
You're talking about the exotic metals.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm going on about, because obviously, everyone knows about gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and I was just thinking that, is that a good investment in a sense, or is it something to avoid some of the other metals?
There's a Swiss company which specializes in, let's say, the rare precious metals. I won't call them, just call them rare metals. Essentially, the company, it's like a trading platform, and they hold them in storage, and the kind of arrangement you've seen with gold custodial type of arrangements, except they do it with the rarer metals. Now I wonder if I can come up with their name for you while we're speaking here. I'll see. Can't guarantee I'll find it in one go. But really what you're talking about is essentially playing the volatility. But with games like that, what you need to do is just buy the stuff, try and buy it cheap, and then sit on it, and then someday a bull market fad appears in it, or a squeeze or something.
Yeah.
And you still have your eye on it. In other words, you don't kind of look at it once a year. Because you could find that the one every 10-year multiplied by 50x price came and went in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
But basically, what you're doing is you're range trading a 10-year pattern, which is kind of like about every decade it happens, or something like that.
Yeah. No, the reason why I brought it up because about a year ago, I used to watch videos from periodic tables, and they're going on about a lot of the elements and different things like that. And iridium came up, and I saw the factory where they were making it. It's very hard to work with because of the high melting point and the manufacturing of them. And I contacted J&M Bullion, seeing if they did, and that was about a year after I watched the video. It was still in my head. I finally got around to contacting them, and they said they do, and I haven't got one yet. I'm biding my time, I guess, but see what the price happens. But yeah, I just thought, well, with some of the J&M Bullion bars in silver, some of the older ones, they can go for quite a lot of money in a sense. A lot of people collect them, and I thought, well, is this a good idea to jump into a different metal with the same company with a new bar in a sense that they've only started making? So that was just a thought that maybe for a long term, not just like you were saying 10 years, wait for the bull market, but also the collecting value of it as well. But
Well, no, you see, you're
correct me if
talking
I'm
about
wrong.
physical, yeah, but these guys would be talking about kind of buying it in bar form. It's kind of an anonymous industrial form. The other way, of course, is and for most of these metals, there's an ETF somewhere, which basically is just an ETF in that metal, a bit like GLD,
Yeah,
but it might be in chromium or something, you know.
yeah. I'm more from my experience with the markets in the past and the present. I'm personally more into physical now. That's just me. Maybe it's because of the way things are going and just what I'm seeing and what's happening. I just feel that maybe it might be a good idea to put some of my assets into physical in a sense, which I have been doing. So,
There's
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that at all. Having physical assets, it's not gonna hurt.
No,
Well, it's
and you
out.
get, and obviously, yeah, the collecting thing. I really enjoy the collecting, to be honest. Like I did, I found some more Morgans in my local shop, picked them up. Great, I'm slowly getting there. It takes time. I know I can go on eBay and get them, but sometimes I like finding them and actually seeing them, because I've been stung once or twice with fakes. Obviously from China, we've spoken about the replicas that they keep bloody making. Very sad, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of counterfeiters out there looking to make a score. You know, and you definitely have
Yeah.
to be aware of them. Test kits and stuff like that are needed. But it looks kind of weird if you start testing at the LCS. Well, most people are reputable. It's just that on eBay it's you know you really have to be careful. 'Cause you just don't know what you might get.
Yeah. Yeah, read the description before buying.
Yeah, I'll try to stay with MCM or
I would just stick away from eBay and Amazon. Just stick to the main dealers. I mean, I
I
don't know.
think
I
I
might be
think you're right
stupid,
there.
but I'd rather, I know that you can get a good deal sometimes hunting on eBay and stuff, but I'd rather pay the 20, 50, whatever dollars a little bit extra than to end up getting screwed once on a gold. Nah.
Yeah, no, I can fully understand that. Yeah, I haven't been screwed on any gold coins yet, but I don't want that to happen. Obviously, making larger purchases. I always go to a dealer. Like the wedge-tailed eagles I got. I wasn't gonna buy a load of those straight off of eBay, even if I saved $100 or something like that. I'd rather go to a large dealer. Yeah,
large dealers are. If you're gonna buy something, a large purchase, then you definitely want to go that route. Deal with the larger dealerships. Um, Small purchases, $100, maybe $200. You can kind of, depending on what you're looking for, you can kind of go about eBay on something like that. That's kind of what my motto's been. Unless, of course, it's a large dealer that's selling on eBay, then uh, whatever they put
yeah,
up.
yeah. I just yeah. I wish like in the UK, I wish I knew about Silver to Go website. I wish I knew about that a bit sooner when I started collecting more of the Lunar series, because I could have probably got a lot, well, double what I got via than using eBay in a sense. So hey, that's some mistakes you make.
So, word of advice: the law changes on January 1st regarding VAT in the eurozone.
Yeah.
You won't get the reduced rate anymore, because starting from that date, any dealer has. It's not just on metals; it's anything you buy. They have to charge you the VAT rate in your home country.
Oh right. So I'll have to. What I'll do is I'll make a purchase on there and see what's going on, because
I've noticed a lot of other people stacking videos that they've bought from there, and they said they hadn't paid any VAT. So I'll double check that one. Maybe I'm missing something, you know.
There is VAT, but it's done on the German system. The German VAT is calculated on a profit margin rather than the actual total price. So if they're only making like a €1 profit on each coin, then there's only like 19 cents tax applied to it.
Right. Okay.
Because their VAT rate is 19% on coins now.
Let me have a look. Okay, thanks for that. I'm just going to have a quick look on the internet.
But yeah, starting January 1st, it's going to be the same as ours.
Oh,
It'll be 20% on the final price, so there'll be no benefit to buying from Germany anymore.
Yeah, I have I do know someone, a dealer, he has a website. He's Silver Trader, UK, and he says he sells to the north, but obviously he sells to the whole UK. And I get the feeling that he's trying to change the law, because obviously we're VAT on gold is 0, but silver is 20% basically. And what he's trying to do is argue the fact that silver is an investment as well, and he's trying to go through the legal battle with that. As far as I'm aware, I don't know how far he's got. I haven't bought off his site or spoken to him at the moment, but you never know. You know, so some people can make a change regarding laws, but I doubt it. You know, these things take time. But with you saying about, with you saying about the Silver to Go website changing in January, with it going to normal VATs in the country, I'm guessing he's not getting very far with it then.
Well, the problem is it's a European change in law. It's not British, so trying to get this reappealed, it would take input from every single European nation to get it changed.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. The UK might not be in the EU in the next couple of years, or part of their laws in a sense. See what happens. Where are we?
I think you should recognise that the people at the bottom might want England out of the EU, but the people at the top are very much on the other side of the fence.
That's true, because the European Union, the way it's structured is it gives the multinationals a greater monopoly.
Yeah. So don't count on any party sort of got a majority in the UK turning around tomorrow and sort of like taking a democratic view on this.
I've noticed this, that before the election there was obviously had Nigel Farage try and emphasise get out in the EU, etc. And afterwards, David Cameron, even though he had it in his policies, you know, he was going to have the referendum by 2017. And then people thinking about bringing it down to 2016. What I've noticed with the news is that a lot of companies are saying don't leave the EU, and a lot of news on the BBC, and they're trying to change, in a sense, people's perspective. And yeah, I get the feeling that it's in the future will be as tight as the referendum in Scotland. I think it's going to be 50-50 again. But generally like my generation, I personally I don't want to be in the EU, especially the way things are going. They're bullying countries in a sense, and they are like you said, like it's all for the monopoly of the bigger companies, and really it's not good for small businesses.
No, it's going to kill small businesses, because another thing starting on the same day, actually January 1st, 2016, to sell outside of the UK, you're going to have to charge VAT on all purchases. You're going to have to record the transaction, and you have to keep details of the transaction and your customer for 10 years. So you're going to have to employ an accountant to go through every transaction every month indefinitely, and review it on a regular basis for at least 10 years. And most small businesses aren't going to be able to afford that. Basically, it does away with the VAT exemption. You know, you can do 88,000 worth of transactions before you have to register as VAT.
Yeah.
Registered. They're getting rid of that. So what this is going to do is it's going to force all these small businesses into using eBay and Amazon stores instead, which is going to benefit the big boys immensely.
But what really annoys me is like a company like Starbucks. The reason why they get away with paying no tax in a sense, is because they keep expanding, and I've seen so many new Starbucks shops open up because they're basically putting their profits into expanding, and that's destroying other businesses, small businesses that have like a small coffee shop or want to start up and make a big company. It's terrible, really. You know, where are we going with all this? I don't know.
We're going. Well, I mean, we know where we're going with this. We're going to collapse. We all know that.
Do you think so? Honestly,
I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think we're going to collapse. I mean, if you look at the Netherlands is a great example of a Western European country where there's no collapse. The amounts of local coffee shops outnumber Starbucks by 3 to 1. They've actually grown more than Starbucks in those regions.
Yeah, but 24K collapse could take 20 years, could take 50 years. It takes an empire a long time to go down, and it would be, we're talking about a multi-streams, like there'd be thousands of different of streams all heading in decline at the same time. You know, you could have the business cycle making a high at the same time as the supermarkets are making a low at the same time as, you know.
Yeah,
so
I
like
think the world's economy is so linked today, Phi, that a real collapse wouldn't really happen. What I'm trying to say by that is that we might get affected, we might go down, you know, from on our standings, but a complete collapse, I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
Well, collapse. If you're living in the West, yeah. Here's my point. If you're living in the West now, today, and in 30 years' time, you or your children are on the same living standard as people in the East are today, that might be called collapse.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
You know, like, you know,
I'm not arguing with
working
you
standards in China.
that the wealth moves, but what I'm trying to say is that there's not going to be a complete collapse because of the world is so interlinked to each other. No. There will be a gradual one. It won't be something. Yeah.
Decline. Fine. Yeah. You see, what these people in the silver selling, particularly the silver selling retail sector, have of a kind of collapse is like a cliff edge Armageddon day, which is approaching. I am certainly not talking about that. No, I mean that's just another scare story.
I guess it would be a shock if it actually did happen, but very, very, very unlikely.
It's the gradual stripping of wealth, basically, and it's being funded by big corporate entities because they want a monopoly over you, basically. They want a monopoly on labour, and they want to secure their income for as far into the future as they can, and they'll do it by any means necessary.
I guess the question is, what are they going to do with their power, in a sense, their money?
They're going to do what every big company does with their power. They're going to destroy all around them and then destroy themselves. You can actually look at the governments in the West at the moment, and you can see the process already in action. Take Argentina. When the money runs out, they turn on each other. You know, the former partners break up. I've made the comparison in articles I've written. I've called it like celebrity divorces. You know, it's okay when the money is flush. Everyone likes everyone else. But when the money runs out, you start to get this assassination process between the leaders, the emergence of a kingpin, the removal of all the others, and it goes from a multifaceted partnership at the top to, which might be called fascism, and it changes towards a dictator at the top. You know, when the money runs out, that's what happens. So the UN at the moment would be described as a partnership at the top. You know, if the UN had done its job, you might call the Trilateral Commission a smaller group at the top. If that had done its job, they'd start fighting each other. You know what I mean? It's a winnowing process. Right, at the moment they're eliminating the middle class.
Yeah, it's a bit like for me, I'm a big fan of. I don't mind big companies that invest in their research for greater development. A bit like BAE Systems, where a lot of their money that they make goes straight into their research to make more products. I know it's military, but mainly, but that's what I prefer, because at least the money is being used for something rational, other than
Well, the thing is,
complete
in
utter,
today's
you know.
business environment, environment, if you're not spending at least 10%, I mean, if it was before, you have to at least be spending 10% today in R&D just to be able to continue to be someone in the next 5 years. I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
you know, you've got the Chinese, the Indians, the Koreans. Everyone's making counterfeits and doubling up on what you've got. If you're not adapting and making changes, no matter what it is that you're doing, you know, you're going to get eaten up quick. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll produce stuff better than what you make.
Yeah. All things to think about. Well, like, I wonder how long Apple will have its power over the computer kind of like revolution. But you know what I mean? As in, will it keep its powerhouse for as long as what people hope and want for? You know.
I don't know. I could definitely see the iPhone in the future. Well, they're talking about bringing out a car, actually. In the last press release, they were talking about doing the iCar.
Yeah. Nokia had an 80% market share at one point of all mobile phone sales in the world. 80%. Apple's never gotten that high. 80%. And today, where's Nokia?
Yeah, I was going to say Nokia. That was the big one when I was younger.
No one had a
Nokia.
I mean, they had the market share, 80%. If they had spent enough R&D, they could have killed everybody else. Everybody else came in after them, and everybody took them. They were fighting hard to stay off, you know, Windows and to stay off, you know, Google or Android for the longest time. To where they went out and bought Symbian, which was failing at the time, from Sony.
Well, I mean, I mean, you've already seen BlackBerry collapse onto itself.
Yep.
You know, there's just there's going to be some companies that are going to eliminate
Sony
themselves.
television.
But
Sony television. Who would have ever thought of a TV that wasn't made by, you know, Sony was the shit back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their panels from Samsung.
I don't have a product that isn't Samsung, to be honest. Obviously, computer, iPad. So.
Well, you got to remember those companies had their cycle. But right now,
if you don't put enough into R&D and you don't innovate yourself enough, others will come out and eat you because they can make it for cheaper and better.
I can remember I was working as a TV salesman actually back in 2008, and Sony actually came to our company because they were panicking about losing market share in the UK. And their mistake was actually just not recognizing the recession. They continued to focus on just building pure quality. They thought that people would continue to buy their brand because they know it's reliable, regardless of the price, right? When really what people wanted going into the recession, and still to this day, is just affordability. They want something cheap. Everyone's after a bargain nowadays. I mean, it's true in all retail fields. I mean, I remember as a kid, if you shopped at a place like Primark, you were being mocked. You were being called like a poor kid. You know, everyone had to have the top designer brands and everything, but now everyone flocks to like cheap clothing, cheap electronics. They want cheap everything.
Yep.
And that was Sony's biggest flaw, just simply not recognizing how much wealth had been destroyed in the what was called the credit crunch at the time. That was back before they were calling it a recession.
yeah, a lot of companies failed to realize that, and they've lost market share and everything else.
Yeah.
You know, I think that that Apple just was able to position themselves in the right place and at the right time, because they had been down for a long time, and when the time came, they were able to gain a lot of market shares on a lot of other different companies as well.
Well, Apple had a brilliant marketing strategy, basically. That's all it was. It wasn't necessarily about having a better product, it was about appealing to the younger generation.
It's all about
I mean,
selling.
they teamed up with the Black Eyed Peas, who were very popular at the time. They've teamed up with all kinds of music artists. They bought a lot of airtime on MTV, and they started using viral campaigns. If you remember back in the day, they latched onto social media very early on. They just had a very youth-orientated campaign, basically.
Yeah.
And when they came out with the phones and the computers that they wanted to market to this young generation, they offered. They recognised that people didn't have the money, but they didn't want to. They didn't want to charge people up front either, so they offered the payment plans, right? So
No, but
suddenly
they also
these expensive products became affordable because they're only paying like $40, $50 a month or whatever.
wait, but
Yeah.
they also, I mean, one of the other things that a lot of people loved about Apple was that you got an amazing quality product and everything came in the box. It wasn't
Oh
like, I mean,
yeah,
now they sell you 1,000 things in addition, but back then you opened up whatever you got from, and you had everything in there. The case, the speakers, the headphone, everything was in there.
Yeah, yeah, it was. They included, they gave you everything you needed to get going with it.
Yeah, everything was included. It wasn't like you needed to go out and buy something else or do something else or.
Yeah, they definitely had a real good marketing, deal going there. Like Jack was saying. Um, over the next 3 or 4 years, things will get interesting. I think that you know, uh, with the bullion banks being set up, well, not banks, but bullion depositories being set up here in the states. I'd figure probably over the next 3 years or so, uh, you'll see a few states that'll have them, and there might be a few more coming and going. But I think that at that point that you'll start to see the global economy start to pick up. It's just 2006, 2007. This probably last until about 2017. It'll be 2016 to 2017. You'll see the change. I think that that's really what's going to start to happen. Then in 2018, it'll become obvious to everybody. But over the next couple of years, depending on where you're at and what you're doing, there's still going to be a lot of people in the globe trying to, strive to maintain their current position, and try to get some upward mobility out of it as well. But how that bodes for the precious metals, it'll probably move in an upward trend. But I would think that upward trend in the semi numismatics and stuff like that market's going to start to fade away over the next couple of years.
Well, now speaking of semi-numismatics and numismatics, and since PD is here, you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep, I see your screen.
Basically, what you have in front of you is sovereigns.
Yeah, I see the Looney Tunes sovereign there in the middle.
Yeah. Now, basically, for the last 500 years, the sovereigns have only come out with two different back designs. Up until 18-something, it was this, which was the shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, until today, it's always been George and Slaying the Dragon, which is this one.
Right.
But over the last 20 years or so, they've introduced 4 new sovereigns with a different back. I don't have one of them, which is the 1989, and it goes for above $1,500. And then you've got the 2002. This was the anniversary of the shield, which is this one. And then they had the 2005, which is as George said, the Looney Tunes, and the 2012.
Yeah, well, I think it got ripped off. If you had a lunar, it would be $5,000.
Silver, right?
Yeah.
That's what I knew. I did something wrong.
Whoops.
Those are nice coins.
Yeah, I just wish now that I'd gotten them all in proofs.
So do you have every single year now, or what?
Of the sovereigns?
Yeah.
No, I don't have every single year. I've got all the different kings and their different veils and different what's it called since Victoria. I don't have anything before Victoria. I have all the Edward sovereigns. I've got all the George sovereigns, and then I've got all the different mint mark sovereigns: Sydney, Melbourne, Ottawa, South Africa, Pretoria. I've got the World War I sovereigns, but no, there's a lot of sovereigns I don't have.
Yeah.
There's over like, dude, there's over like 1,000 something sovereigns if you want to go out and get all of them.
Wow. I didn't realize there was that many.
Yeah, there's a lot. No, I think the ones that I have from Bookwise, I think those are the best. So there's no point to go out and try and get anything else.
What year Canadian sovereign do you have? The 1919?
11.
1911.
Yep. It was the cheapest one, George.
Yeah. You got a good deal on it, did you?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a great deal. I paid like, I mean, it was more expensive than all the other sovereigns. It was one of the more expensive
They
sovereigns.
hold a pretty good premium.
That one and the Indian 1918 were the ones that cost me the most. No, you're right. It is Doc Soldier. Big shout out to Doc Soldier for getting me that book. It was like a year and a half ago. He's one of the reasons why I got into sovereigns too. So he's actually, that was from Doc Soldier. This was a trade with him. So I just wanted to share that with y'all, show you that there's a different back. Like I said, there's also a different front, but those are just too many to show.
Nice.
You want? Oh, fuck this goat.
What's the latest? Is Greece fixed again or no?
Aren't they supposed to be paying debts or something right now?
I
Well,
think they're getting a loan so that they can pay their debt.
That sounds funny.
Well, if I remember right, they've got a pretty heavy schedule between now and the end of the year. They've got like 5 different payments in June, 2 in July, 1 or 2 in August, and there's a few more that's going to be through September, through the rest of the year.
Greece is like the Donald Trump of Europe.
Yeah. That was a eye-opening list of payments that I viewed that they had to do. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. I think they're in. I think maybe the IMF and the rest of them have been getting their positions together and for the last few years because they're just not going to be able to do it unless they do a debt forgiveness. Something's got to give. You know, based on what I've been seeing.
Well, this next payment's on Friday, right?
Yeah, on the 5th. That's the first one. But they've got like 3 on June the 11th and another one on another couple more on June the 18th.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I wish I had bought some Greek bonds a few years ago. The yield has been crazy.
Yeah, you're good until they default.
Hmm. I saw one going for 18% per year though.
Yeah, it doesn't help you though if they default in 2 years.
Yeah,
Reckon
you
they'll
wouldn't
leave
allocate
you,
much to it, but
All the other ones are already out of trouble. It used to be Italy, Spain, Ireland, Portugal, but all of them seem to be doing okay now. It's just Greece.
Mm.
All the other ones seem to be coming out of.
no. I know for a fact Spain is still a dump.
Spain is it's still a dump, but it's definitely recovering. Look at their growth.
Ah, it's bull. They still got 70% youth unemployment. 70%.
What are they doing? That's the question.
They're moving to Morocco. Yeah.
It's
Reverse
I don't know.
migration.
I don't know if they're going to leave the Euro. What do you guys think, honestly?
Nope, because it's a cult.
Well,
Once you're in for life.
I just been reading a lot of the comments on the Guardian, like the website on Greece, all the live updates, and like all the talks that are happening. This like Greece saying it's going great, and then German press saying, "Oh, it's not so good," and yeah, it's all contradictive information coming from both sides, and it just makes me wonder. You know, I hope it all works out for them, but I they must be like they're gonna. I'm surprised that people. I know a lot of people took a lot of money out of their bank accounts over the past months, but I don't know if there's going to be a sudden rush to get money out soon. But what do you guys think? Do you reckon that's going to happen?
They
I think it's
can't pull
already.
the money out because they've brought in so many restrictions. You can only take it out in small increments. Even then, the bank can deny it. So there won't be another bank run.
Right. Okay.
You know, they've taken measures to prevent that from happening. I think they should just be allowed to leave, but like I said, it's a cult.
Well, we'll see what happens. It'd be nice if they left, but it'll be a domino effect in a sense. But like we're saying, I don't know which EU countries are in bad shape in the sense of their
Well,
finances.
you got the
Would it
worst
affect
ones coming
them?
in now, right? The EU's got enough
Right.
problems on its hand, but you've got more now countries that are going to be coming in too,
Right.
and they're in
Well,
much worse shape than Greece. I mean, if the Ukraine is given any more special treatment, or if it gets to join the EU, who's going to be paying for that?
Well, you just got to look at who's running this thing. It's mostly run by people who had ties or worked directly for the Soviet government. And look how they ran their organization into the ground. It's the same thing all over. The only thing that's different this time is that they're doing it economically instead of militarily.
Yep.
which is a good thing in a sense, I guess. Thinking about it, I'd rather have an economic kind of takeover than a military one. But
Well, I think the end result is the same. It's just it's not as sudden. It's not as
yeah,
blatant. It's like it's happening kind of behind the scenes.
yeah, no, you're right. Well, do you reckon Greece will look for? I don't know what's going to happen, but do you reckon they're going to look for funding off the BRICS nations? I don't know what's going on completely, but I've read a bit of information about that they might possibly do that. I don't know.
Well, Russia offered them a loan on the conditions that they be allowed to place a military installation there. And that's why we're trying to keep them in the Eurozone so desperately, because we don't want the Russians having a base basically that close to other nations.
Which makes sense with you saying it. Obviously, it's a cult and they want to keep them in. I can understand the point of view now on that. Yeah.
I think they're scared of another kind of a crisis similar to the Cuban Missile Crisis occurring. You know, where Russia set up a base in Cuba, which it could use to attack America. They're scared that Russia is going to do the same in Greece, but use it to potentially attack Europe.
Yeah, as a staging point in a sense.
So the people of Greece are actually inconsequential. No one actually cares about them. It's just the geographical location of the island.
Yeah. So does anyone have any concerns on Russia and what's going on? Do you, like, I've seen a lot of reports. Obviously, they're doing like they've had quite a lot of coming into our airspace in the UK, and you've had you know, all the sanctions, and then or was it on Friday they've stopped certain diplomats coming into Russia. I can't name them all. I think there's 89 in total. You know, they're really hyping up this kind of offensive on Europe and the US in a sense. What the hell's that?
What the hell?
I have no idea.
Is that Silver Swan?
That was Al.
Oh,
I wonder what that was. Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of get a kind of overview of what you think, you know, in the next couple of years, what Russia are going to be doing. You know, I'm not really. Does it worry me? Kind of, yes, in a sense. You know, I don't really want to have not a war, but like I know Ukraine's been going on. You know, the Russians are saying they're not, don't have any involvement whatsoever. But yeah, it's kind of a bit worrying in a sense. So I just wonder what other people's thoughts are on that. You know, do you reckon Russia will actually start to try and push into Europe again? Honestly,
I think they're going to be forced to actually. So the real goal
really?
of the European Union is to move into Asia to secure the natural resources. Because Eurasia holds 75% of the world's natural resources. So whoever controls that as a strategic asset controls the world, basically. You know, they can set the price of business, basically.
Oh, right. Wow.
It was interesting what Putin said, though, in a recent press conference when they were talking about Russian people getting their visas rejected when trying to travel around Europe. He said, asked him what his thoughts were, and he gave a short speech and then concluded with, "My tanks don't need visas."
Yeah, I did. I think I did remember reading that somewhere.
Yeah.
No, he's getting very aggressive on that side. Yeah. Well, he seems to be building himself up in a manner where he's going to be kind of the big man in a sense. So, who knows? I don't dwell on it. I'd rather not. I'd rather just read the news and see what happens.
That's beyond our control. So I don't need to worry about it, really.
It's a niggling concern. It's not a worry, I guess.
In reality, the world has always one disagreement from a war.
Yeah.
Always has been.
So what do you guys think of that Athena coin, the Gods of Olympus, the female series, the new one?
It's horrible.
One vote for nay.
I like the background artwork.
It's
But
ugly.
Two votes for nay. Well, I'll cast my vote for it. It was well struck. I'll give a yay. It's not a bad looking coin, but
It
I
looks
won't
like
be
she's
buying
committing
it.
suicide. No, I don't like the coin at all. I think I put a comment saying it should be melted down and turned into a teapot. I mean,
No,
it's
it's
not
a good thing Athena is the goddess of wisdom because she sure didn't get looks.
Uh, I wish I jumped into that series. I obviously I'm way too late because I only started collecting like early 2014. So you know.
What coin is next?
Is it on sale now, actually?
Well, hopefully they'll be able to make Aphrodite look good. Maybe it'll be Athena with a privy.
Yeah, they could run a privy mark on there, but they probably won't. And after this Gods of Olympus, are they done doing this series completely, or they got more plans in the works for any more? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, I hope they don't drag it out anymore. One was enough.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's 50-50. I'm kind of looking at it thinking 50-50. Maybe they might come up with something else. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. You know,
Too
once they
many.
get a good thing going, you run it until it falls, till the wheels fall off sometimes.
I'd rather buy this coin here.
What you got there? The 2015 Great Britain. Uh, the Glit. Okay, that's a nice looking coin.
Yeah, it's a beautiful coin. The Pediafort is really nice too. It's the same design, but just, Pediafort stripe. Or however you say that. Pediafort, whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, losing Louis says it's the best. Just check out some of his videos.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, CCT, a vote for him.
It's too soon. It's too soon for that coin. Not a polite Canadian. Give it some time. It'll do. It'll go up.
Yeah, I know it's still early. I just figured it might have been one of those things everyone scrabbled over, like the because you guys are talking about the gods of Olympus.
Right.
I don't even. I didn't find the gods or the goddesses of Olympus appealing to me. So. But
I thought it was a cool idea and a great design and a cool way to put out a piece of silver. And then AppMex had to pump it up real good with their version, which I think is hilarious. And it just flooded the market with these types of coins.
yeah.
Yep, floppity flop. What you got there? 24K. Well, tell us about that coin now. You can't just put it out there. Revolution of Mexico. What's the deal on this coin?
Mexicana.
That's the coin, but he can't have.
What?
That's the coin that Seattle wants, but he can't have.
Yeah, I know, but can you guys tell me about this coin, please? What is it?
It's
I
a
know.
2-ounce Mexican.
Okay, it's a 2-ounce
2-ounce Mexican.
commemorative coin for the Revolution of Mexico from 1910 to 2010.
Yep.
Can I see the obverse, please?
Yes, sir.
There we go. That's nice. I like that design, man. Right there. That's absolutely beautiful.
Like that, George?
I do.
Nice. That was a birthday present.
Awesome birthday present.
Yep.
So how many of those were struck?
I don't know. I just got it, and I haven't done the research. I just love the front of it.
Well, you mean the reverse?
Just the soldiers on the train.
Yeah, the reverse.
Or if we'll have a commemorative coin marking the anniversary of our next revolution.
Our next revolution?
I bet you when the payments stop being made, there's going to be a lot of upset people. Technology equals critical.
Jack.
I take it you mean the payments as in like benefits, just to get
Yep.
that clear.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the payments could stop, PD. I mean, not all payments are federal payments. Remember, a lot of payments are made at the state level.
Oh. Well, I thought it was all under one house. I thought that was. I didn't realise it
Nope.
was. County.
Nope. Disability, unemployment, a lot of welfare payments are made by the state too.
Yeah. Mm. I think if you can continue to print money whenever you want, I think it will continue until someone or a lot of people suddenly realise something wrong here.
Yeah, but that's the problem. You can't. Not everybody can print the money.
Right.
Plus, at some point, you keep printing money as a nation, and other countries are going to stop lending to you.
Yeah, that's true. It's,
That's the big problem is when the current account stops being funded by the foreign governments. That's when the goods stop flowing.
no. I don't know if you guys are experts, but how does a recession happen? How does it happen? Just briefly, if any of
Two
you know.
quarters, 2 quarters of negative GDP. That's
Two
the
quarters.
definition.
Yeah. Okay. But there's an article that came out recently saying that the UK is now in deflation. Um, what do you think about that? Like, that's everyone sees that as a really bad thing, you know. In the UK, it's like, oh no, deflation, but actually, really, for the consumer, it's a good thing.
Well, it depends, doesn't it? Because the consumer is also in debt, and if you end up having deflation, the cost of a lot of things will probably go down, as will people's salaries. I mean, not their current salaries